Hello and welcome to the Projection Room channel. Today I'm going to show you an action crime movie called The Equalizer. Spoiler alert, watch out and take care. The movie opens up in Boston where we see Robert McCall, who is a retired Special Forces operative. He gets up early to get ready and go to work at the Home Mart. Robert is respected and appreciated by his colleagues. He preferred to live a normal life, chatting amiably with customers and being friendly to everyone. During lunchtime, Ralphie took a bite of a sandwich and Robert heard a crackle. There are wafers in his sandwich. Robert reminds Ralphie that he must lose weight for his test to become a security guard. Most nights, Robert goes to a restaurant where he takes a book. A young girl asks Robert if the man in the book has caught the fish. He said, "Not yet." The girl finished her cake and took a taxi. On the next evening, Robert returned to the restaurant and met the same girl. She notices that he was reading a new book. A limo pulled up in front of the restaurant. She then receives a call from her pimp, Slavy. He told her she had a client, the man in the limo. The girl did not want to go because this man is violent. The car door opened to reveal a fat man waiting for the girl. Reluctantly, she stepped outside and joined him. The next night, McCall finds the girls in the restaurant. She has a bruise on her face. He gave her a donut that he had received from work. She sits with him at his table and introduces herself as Terry. Even though her real name was Elena, she gave Robert a CD on which she had recorded her own songs. Robert leaves with her and they go for a walk. Before a car stops, they are Slavy and his driver. Slavy comes out and slaps Elena. Robert steps forward until he saw the driver with a gun. Slavy goes to Robert and gives him a card for his business to ask for other girls. Robert visits the restaurant another night and learns from the manager that Elena is in the ICU after being beaten badly. Robert goes there and he notices another prostitute, Mandy, by Elena's side. Her face has now become even more bruised and swelled. He inquires about Elena and Mandy tells him that Slavy hit Elena and she hit him back. To make an example among other girls, Slavy beats Elena. Robert examines the card Slavy gave him. He walks up to the area above a club where Slavy and his men are meeting. He walks in with an envelope containing $9,800 for Elena's freedom. The men laugh at Robert at first, but Slavy claims the money would be enough to keep Elena for a month. Robert takes the money and begins to walk away. He is about to leave when he chooses to stay and lock the door. After carefully studying the men and weapons they are holding, he sets the timer on his watch. One of the men points their gun at Robert, but he grabs his arm, causing the man to shoot Slavy in the throat. He then stabs that man in the eye with a shot glass. He stabs the third man, then grabs a corkscrew and stabs the driver repeatedly until he inserts it under his chin and kills him. Robert walks to Slavy's side to watch him die. Following the murders, Teddy, a Russian mobster, arrives in Boston to track the killer. To obtain leads, he joins forces with a group of corrupt cops. Robert notices Ralphie isn't at work. He is being told that Ralphie has resigned, so he pays a visit to Ralphie's mother's workplace. Ralphie is assisting there after a fire was allegedly caused by an accident. Teddy is taken to the office of a gangster named John Looney by one of the corrupt cops, Frank Masters, to continue his search for the killer. Teddy and all Russians are insulted by John. Teddy responds by hitting John with an ashtray, while Frank kills John Mann. Teddy continues to beat on John's face until he collapses. Teddy examines the picture captured by CCTV cameras, and there he saw blurry pictures of Robert. In the next scene, Remar and Pedersen, the two other corrupt cops, are eating at Ralphie Mother's restaurant. They extort money from her and threaten her with another fire accident if the money is not returned on time. Robert spots them outside the restaurant and informs them that he wants to report a crime. They ignore him until he addresses one of them directly. Robert shows them a video he recorded of them extorting a convenience store employee as evidence of their confession to cause the restaurant fire. He asks them that they can either return the money or the footage will be broadcast on television. Robert is held up at gunpoint by the cops, but he quickly beats them both. They agree and return the money to Ralphie's mother later. Teddy interrogates Mandy and seeks information about the man who visits Elena in the hospital. And when Mandy information matches with the man's description outside the Russian club, he kills Mandy. Robert is seen with his co-workers playing baseball. Ralphie arrives in a security guard uniform after passing his test. A thief enters Home Mart and threatens the cashier with a gun until she passes over the money in the register. Robert approaches him casually and hands him the money. Cashier ring is also demanded by the thief. She hands it to him with tear in her eyes. Robert notices various features about the man, such as his tattoos and headgear. He remains still since the children and their mother enter the store. He follows the man outside and examines the license plate on his vehicle. Robert then proceeds to take a sledgehammer off a rack. The cashier discovers her ring in the cash register the next day. After wiping the hammer clean, Robert returns it to the rack. Teddy finds some information about Robert, the most of which seemed to be clean, with no sign that he was involved in Slavi's death. While one of their people tries to catch Robert at the diner, Teddy and Frank, along with another guy, wait outside. Robert suspects the man is up to no good and inquires whether they are expecting anyone else. The man pulls out a gun and begins to approach him. A truck approaches the diner, obstructing Teddy and his men's view. Robert killed the man by slamming his head down on the table and breaking his neck after hitting him in the stomach with his book. He then cuts off the lights by inserting a knife into an outlet. He exits the diner and takes pictures of Teddy and his men in their car. Robert is followed by the gangster. He boils some honey to treat a wound caused by the gunman. He sneaks off before Teddy and his thugs arrive. He monitors them from another room using cameras installed throughout his flat. Teddy is aware that he is being watched. Robert visits his friend Brian and Suzanne's house. He knows Suzanne can learn more about Teddy and the people he works for. While she is out getting what he requested, Brian informs Robert that he was thought to be dead, but Suzanne knows the truth. When she returns, she informs Robert that the man he murdered were members of the Russian mafia led by Vladimir Pushkin. Pushkin sends Teddy, whose true name is Nikolai, when something needs to be done. Remar and Pedersen worked for Pushkin, but they were discovered dead a few days earlier. Robert locates Frank and traps him in his car with a hose, poisoning him with carbon monoxide until he agrees to assist him. Frank relents and leads Robert to the Russians' money storage. Robert managed to persuade all of the criminals to surrender, and he locks them up in a room with all of the money for the cops to find before releasing the workers. Robert then goes to Frank's safe deposit box and he retrieves his money, passport, and a USB carrying additional information about Pushkin and his dealings. The cops arrive to apprehend Frank and find the gangsters and money. Later, Robert locates Pushkin oil tanker and destroys them all. Teddy and his men take over Home Mart and kidnap McCall's colleague, including Ralphie and Jenny, until he goes to confront them. Teddy's men track his cell phone in order to anticipate his arrival. When he doesn't appear, they nearly kill Ralphie until the music begins to play over the intercom. The criminals walk out and are progressively executed by Robert as he moves about the premises silently. He hangs one with barbed wire, stabs another through the neck, and then blows one up in a microwave chamber with hydrogen. Ralphie goes to assist Robert, but he's shot in the leg. Robert assists him in escaping till he's left with Teddy. When the explosion activates the sprinklers, he obtains a nail gun and repeatedly shoots Teddy with it, killing him in the throat. 3 days later, Robert confronts Pushkin in his Moscow mansion. As he's taking a shower, Robert repeatedly turns on and off the lights and runs the sink water. Pushkin walks by the sink and discovers that Robert has vanished. He calls his gods, unaware that Robert has cut the connections and exposed them. Pushkin is electrocuted after the water strikes the wires. The other gods are already dead. Alina approaches Robert when he returns to Boston. She informs him that she has found a real job and has begun to read. She praises Robert for what he did and kisses him on the cheek before they part ways. Robert is back in the restaurant on his laptop. In the final scene, he receives a message, "I'm in trouble, can you help?" He simply replies, "Yes." Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification if you appreciate my work. Show some love in the form of likes and comments. And now, time to sign off.